Hey, hey. Hey, guys. It's AlQamar coming to you live. Hoping, as usual, we can get a conversation started. So, hey, Garth. Hoping all is well. Hoping you're staying safe out there. Just wanted to chat about what do you guys think is stopping us from organizing as a collective on a larger scale? I mean, there's some organizing going on in the country, you know, where it relates to us. Like, you know, there's pockets of individuals who are doing their thing. But what you think prevents us from growing a collective, unified force like people like the Jews or the Asians, and you know, or you go down a list. You know, you go down a list, and you can go and you can. There's a Chinatown where, you know what I'm saying, for miles and miles of radius, and the only thing you see is Chinese businesses, and they live collectively and they support one another, or you know what I'm saying, things like what do you think prevents us from doing things like that? I'm just curious. Dwayne says fear. Fear of what, Dwayne? And what got me thinking about this was I was just watching a news report about, some of you may have heard, this black guy, I forget where he was in the country, but he was jogging. This happened in, I think they said January or February, or a few months ago. And he was jogging, and he was confronted on a narrow road by two white guys, a white man and his son, both carrying rifles. And they confronted him, and all this was on video. It said the third man was following him or something. And all this was video recorded. And they confronted him, and there was a, you know, argument ensued or whatever, and they shot him and killed him. Killed this black dude. Come to find out, they thought he looked like a burglar. And so they shot him and killed him. Now, no charges nothing has happened. No charges. The man and his son is still out, and there's no, they're not locked up. And it got me to thinking. I was like, wow, this is a regular occurrence in this society as it relates to us. And why haven't we been able to organize in a manner to prevent these type of things from happening to us? Why is it still going on? Why is it after all this time and all these years that things like this has been happening to us? And we rise up when it happens, and we get angry, and we march, we protest, and then dust settles a little, and then it goes right on back. The killing spree starts again. So what is it that's stopping us from being able to organize? If there are, I think all of us can agree that we want that to stop. We want that to end, right? I don't know a black person alive that would say, yeah, let's let the police keep killing us, or let people just keep killing us for nothing. That's fine with me. You know what I'm saying? So I think I can speak for us all when I say that we want this to stop. Why haven't we organized ourselves to a place where we can prevent or stop things like that? Just something like just that in particular. Let's not even put everything else on the side. Let me see. Khalil says, hey Carl, hey Wayne, hey Arthur, some real Mufasa. Khalil says the education system. I want to talk about that. The education system has planted a chip in our emotional and mental bodies that every time we seek to unite, it initiates pain and prevents us from moving forward. What is the cause of that pain though? What is causing us to have pain? What do you mean, pain towards each other? I mean, so does it become like a lackadaisy attitude about it? Do you feel like, and again, I don't have all the answers. I don't, but I firmly believe that if we don't start to ask ourselves these type of questions, we'll just stay surface. We'll just stay on the surface, and things will keep going the way they're going. And oh well, there's another one bites the dust, and we will pump our fists in the air and angry and in frustration, but nothing will ever change because we don't even move in a direction to change. I think a large part of the issue is we're really waiting for the people who cause us all the stress and strife in our lives to fix it, to change. We want them to change. We want them to stop. We want them to change the laws. We want them to reform the police force. We want, we're waiting on them to change themselves as opposed to us doing it for ourselves. Does anybody else have any type of suggestions as to why you think we aren't organizing ourselves in a fashion to where it will produce change for the better for us in this society? We are too forgiving, Nisha says. So the people that cause us the pain and hurt and heartache, we forgive them. A good example of that is this recent case with what's the guy, the young guy that got killed in his own apartment, with the white police officer woman went into his apartment and shot and killed him in cold-blooded murder, and went to trial. And his brother got up on the stage, got up on the mic and said the first thing he said was he forgave her. He forgave her, and not only did he forgive her, but he wanted to have a relationship with the murderer of his brother. And I believe that's what Naja is referring to when she says we're just too forgiving. And I, for one, think that could be a blessing and a curse. There's a time for peace and there's a time for war. And a lot of times we just want to be in peacetime all the time, even when there's a war going on. And so we don't fight back. And like any situation, you could take a bully on the playground. The bully is going to continue bullying the ones that don't fight back. They don't mess with the ones that fight back. Why? What they want that heat for? When they can go over there and stomp and smack on and steal lunch from some other folks that they know that they ain't gonna do nothing back. That's easy prey. So that's what we want. We find ourselves in a predicament in this society as easy prey, because they to a point now where, say it becomes trendy. Somebody shoot and kill one of your family members and they stick a microphone in your face, the news, and say, how do you feel about that? And the first thing we go to is, oh, well, I forgive them. In my mind, that for me, you become easy prey when you take on out those type of scenarios, because they know. So in the killer's mind, they like, well, I can get off. I'm good. They don't care. They don't even care about their own lives or their own family member lives, because they're gonna forgive me anyway. Hey, Saladin. David says the power starts in who we elect on all levels. Leadership. That's a good point. When you say who we elect, what do you mean? Can you explain that more in detail? Do you mean who we elect amongst our own people, or who we go to the voting poll booth and elect, a choice between a Donald Trump and a Joe Biden? What do you mean when you say we elect on all levels? Is that a level you're referring to? Because we've been doing that. We've been doing the whole political thing in this society for a while now. And I'm wondering how much has politics advanced us or is able to bring us more freedoms for ourselves. Does that help us to organize more, to be able to do for self more, to be able to have more freedoms in the society? Has the political arena that we don't control, has that assisted us? Really? I don't have all the answers. I'm just throwing some things out there so we can talk about it and think about it. The topic is, what's stopping us from organizing on a greater scale, on a larger scale? We have pockets. We have the Nation of Islam who are organized in one arena, and then we have people who are doing organizing in their own cities and states and townships and things where they've organized pockets of people. But what is stopping us from really coming together as a unified force? I'm not saying all black people, you know what I'm saying? I'm not that naive to ever think that that's ever going to happen. But I'm saying more so than what we're currently doing. What is stopping us from coming collectively like other groups of people, like the Jews, they're a small percentage, and they're not even, I was reading something about them the other day that got me to thinking, they're not even close together as far as proximity. They're all over the world. These Jews have taken up positions all over the world, but yet and still they're still organized to a point where wherever Jews are in the world, they set. They good. They straight. Have you ever seen a Jewish person? Well, I guess will be hard to tell, because, you know what I'm saying, they like to consider themselves that as a sect of people that is really considered a religion. But have you ever seen a poor, poverty-stricken Jewish person down on their luck, sitting on a corner begging for change or something like that? You know, they set. Why? Because they're organized in such a way to where they make sure they don't just look out for themselves. They look out for the whole Jewish community. You know, and so many and that's why it's so important to study these other cultures and people, because you learn different things. You know, no matter how, you don't study to become exactly like them and take on their characteristics and traits. But no, if they're doing something within their realm, in their life, and you're lacking, but they're doing it in a way that, it's being successful for them. Well, the intelligent thing to do would be to study what they're doing so you can implement some of those ideas in your own life so you too can have, a better existence and a better way of life. But, yeah, so that's the topic, Saladin. Dwayne says social engineering has the black mind programmed not to move the masses. What's social engineering? What does that look like for those who may not know what you're talking about, what you're referring to at all? So social engineering in the form of another group of people who usually the ruling class of people who put together some strategic methods in the society and teach those individuals in the societies these specific methods in order to get them to maneuver in a way that best benefits them, and not necessarily the person who being taught. Is that what you mean by social engineering, Dwayne? Break that down for me. We could consider the public school system as a social engineering infrastructure, right? I do. You know, if we know that 95% of all of the students who graduate 12th grade, graduate from public schools, are going into the workforce, right? And but when you go to the elitist, and where they send their children, they don't send their children to the same schools you and I send ours. And they go and those who the ruling class, and they go through another program of learning, where they come out and they become the CEOs of corporations, and the high-ranking government, they're presidents, and the advisors to presidents and things of that nature. Then what is that? For me, that tells me that there's something going on there. So public school, in my mind, is a form of social engineering. And that, again, going back to what's stopping us from organizing. So, like, if a few of us out there understand these type of things, everybody don't. I was saying something earlier on my page where I had posted a question, what I tend to do, just to get responses, from the general public, and somebody responded, we all know the answer to that. And I'm like, we should be careful with that type of talk, because we all don't know the answers to all the questions. You and I may have some information that another third party may not have at all. And to shut it all down and saying, well, I know, I understand it. I got the information. You know what I'm saying? Then you leaving in the wind and the dust those who may not have the information, who want to know. So, I think all that is ego-based, which I believe is another point as to what's stopping us from being unified and organized too. Ego, foolish pride, a lack of trust for one another, a lackadaisy attitude. I have my theory as to why that is too. Just a whole lackadaisy attitude towards learning in general. Just learning, period. We don't, anything that becomes too complicated to understand or hard. And I get this a lot. And people is like, you think too much. Or, I don't want to talk about that. Just pass me the liquor bottle. Or, I turn on the game. And, a lot of us live our lives like that. And how does that affect our lives when we do take on those lackadaisy attitudes towards learning new things? I think no sacrifices are being made. No sacrifices are being made to move us towards a more unified force. That takes leadership. You even have some out there say you gotta lead yourself and all that stuff. And I think that's, in my personal opinion, I think that's foolish talk. You name one nation on earth where the people reside, where a group of people reside and they all lead themselves. Name them. That defies the laws of nature. There's a hierarchy process in all of nature, and especially with the nature the parts of nature that live in groups. Those are social type creatures that live in groups and things like that, like take for instance, an elephant tribe, you know, and those elephants don't all lead themselves. In fact, there's always usually a hierarchy. It's usually the oldest female elephant runs the whole pack normally. But I was going to say, in fact, there was a study done on an elephant tribe where some poachers, that's what you call them, some poachers came in and they killed off a lot of the male bull elephants in the tribe, right? And so there was some young elephants still in the tribe. So a few years went past or whatever. I'm probably adding some stuff to the story that don't exist. But anyway, a few years went past and there was this village, and the people in the village were like, what is going on? They were just getting, these elephants, these little young male elephants were coming in the village and trashing and tearing things up, and, where it wasn't happening before. And the people were like, what the heck is going on here? Why is all these elephants all of a sudden, just helter-skelter? And they came to find out, they put two and two together, and they realized that after those bull elephants was killed was when these little young elephants went helter-skelter. They was just cutting up, being unruly, and I connected that to our situation in this society, where so much of our young boys are growing up without fathers in their lives, and what that looks like, and how the reaction, the response to that, the long-term response to that, and the behavior patterns and things like that. I don't want to get off track, but and I said all that to say, I forget what, the leadership thing, and how that all relates to leadership, and how, even in a family structure, there's the head, there's the body, it's a leadership, it's a hierarchy process. And when we get away from that, the foundation of it all, what does that look like? Now here we are, fragmented, you know what I'm saying? Could that possibly be a reason why we're not as unified as a lot of other people in this society, who maybe their family structure is a lot more intact than ours is, And if that is the case, then that means that we have to go back to a foundation, to the root, the family, So, a lot of us like to tease the churchgoers and things like that. But I tell you one thing, when you start looking at the percentage of the families that are still intact for the most part, what I'm saying? If you start going over it in a graph type way, I bet you'll probably find that a lot of the Christian families, or the ones who go to church or are centered around a force higher than themselves, are usually the ones that have their family intact more so than the ones who don't. I would say check it out. But, I'm just wanting us to think a little deeper into our issues, as opposed to repeating the same cycles over and over and over again. What can we do to get out of in this situation we find ourselves in, into a better place? Mufasa says we need to have more black lawyers and paralegals, representatives that will take on our cases and hold them responsible when they mess with us. That way, oppressors know that there will be consequences. Anybody agree with Mufasa? I am a strong advocate for separation. And anybody who's been following my page for any small little time knows that, I believe firmly that separation is our only solution, really, because we're still Mufasa, and that's a noble idea. But in my mind, it's like we're still going back to these people who created the laws and created all the rules, and we're looking to get justice under their laws and rules. So if you don't create the rules and somebody else do, and they don't want to give you justice under them laws, they can just change them. They can just change the law, change the rule to suit them even better, which they have been doing all this time. So is that the all to be all to the, is that going to solve the problem? In my mind, I don't see that as a solution to the overall problem at hand. Because look, you know what I'm saying? You don't take my word for it. Look, how much justice have we been getting under the rulership of law in this society? You got over 1 million black men locked up in prisons. A lot of them for crimes that are, that what they call it, you don't hurt nobody. Ain't nobody really getting hurt. It's drugs, things like that. You got, you know what I'm saying? You got lawyers. I remember that black judge, a few months back, where they dragged her out of the courtroom. Dragged her, literally, grabbed her by her arms, and she let her feet dangle, and they dragged her out of the courtroom and put her in jail. Why? Because she was a judge that was helping black people. She was helping black people. She had got to a point where she decided that it was a touchy situation how she even became the judge. She had to fight for that. They tried to rob her of that. But, she was appointed, and then she started, no teenagers can come into her courtroom with handcuffs. She did away with that. I don't want to see no more teenagers, no juveniles in my courtroom with handcuffs. And there was something else she was implementing, they were saying. I forget. But anyway, she got, she wouldn't stay in her place. And so they conjured up a scheme to get her up out of there. She was a fighter. So she took them to court and all that stuff. And of course, they rallied against her, the system. Though, you know what I'm saying? And they found her guilty for something small and minor, you know what I'm saying? And they dragged her out of the courtroom. So I'm saying all that to say, we have judges, we have lawyers, black judges, we have black, all that. Is that helping the situation? Is that helping us along? Are we getting any better because of it? Quinn said the reason why is because we have been indoctrinated. Yeah, let's go back to the public education school system. And if we know that, Quinn, so we know we're being indoctrinated. We know our children are being indoctrinated. But yet we still send them to the schools that's indoctrinating them. What does that say about us? Really? And I'm talking to all of us, myself included. I mean, I didn't know both of my children are adults now. They both went through public school. This information I have in my head today, I didn't have when they were in school. I'm 100% sure that I wouldn't have them in there. But my point is, my children went through public school too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sitting here to point fingers and make everybody else feel bad or feel guilty. I just want us to really think deeper into what it is that we're doing and not just saying. So if we know we're being indoctrinated in these public schools, our children are being indoctrinated, not teaching them the knowledge of themselves, any of that stuff. They're teaching them how to serve. You come out of the schools and nine out of the 10 students are going into the workforce, just like we have, just like the parents have, and just like our grandparents have. So if we know all this, but we want a better life for our children, some of us, why do we continue to allow our enemies to teach our children? Why? What does that say about us? Why haven't we been able to organize ourselves in a way to where we be able to open our own schools and our own institutions? Why would we just, go and pay another private institution or Catholic institution or something like that to educate our children, as opposed to taking them to an African-centered school and taking that same money, probably even less, and having an African-centered school teach the children about who they are and give them pride of themselves and from whence they came? Why don't we do these things? Why don't we fight towards these things? Why don't we organize, come together collectively, and to fear, Apusa said. Terrence said, we simply have to fight steel with steel. No elected officials can change these corrupt police departments that police themselves. I agree with you. So what do we do? What do we do? What does it look like? What does organizing ourselves look like outside of just saying it? So, and I think that, we can go down a list of things that we can do, but I think that until we get to the root of why our challenges, then we'll keep falling on our face. Because we're not going to the root of our issues. It's just surfing. We just wanting to put a band-aid on the situation. So if we organize and let's say we organize and pull our monies together enough to build a school institution in a certain neighborhood, right? Okay, we organized enough to do that. So now we sending our children to the schools, but the same amount of fighting and issues that, disrespect the teachers, the students disrespecting the teachers, and all that stuff is going on in African Center School too. So then why is that? So that means we hadn't even touched the surface of the root of what it is that we're dealing with. The root cause. We got to get into why these children cutting up and acting up in these schools. You know what I'm saying? Why is a lot of the teachers have a lackadaisy attitude where, they just there for the paycheck at this point? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I don't want to get too far off of, my question at hand, but I just want to give examples of some of the stuff we really dealing with. Dwayne says, somebody else was talking to Dwayne. He says, not self-inflicted. They apply to get all the time to keep us. Hey, Eddie, politics hindered us. What do you mean by that? Politics hindered us. The politics the American politics, because I don't know if we can get away from politics altogether. I don't know, whatever society, even if it's not here. Let's say, for instance, a bunch of us leave to build a new society. You would still need politics. You know what I'm saying? Who's going to make sure that the roads are paved, and who's going to make sure that, the schools get all the supplies they need, and who's going to make sure that, if a tornado come through, that the people got aid to be able to assist them and help them. So I think the politics are always there, always have been. Again, I don't know a society on earth that you can point to, current or past tense, that ever ruled themselves. You know what I'm saying? The people in that society just rule themselves. That, for me, that produces chaos. That's a chaotic society, because there have to be governance, in the society in order for it to run smoothly, and everybody, because helter-skelter, you got some people, they'll tear their own lives up. You tell them to go out there and rule themselves. Nature is not set up that way. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? It sounds nice. We all lead ourselves, rule yourself. No, you don't have nobody need no leader. Yeah, that sounds nice. But in a civilized society, you talking chaos. Saladin, it's a few reasons I submit. Most don't want to leave the system. Most are not willing to sacrifice their lives to do what must be done. And most are trained and adapted to this world system so much. Where you at? To the moves. Okay. And most are trained and adapted to this world system so much, even though they know the solution. Separation. Their dysfunctional mindset and lack of will won't allow them to move out on the solution. In other words, this world owns their mind and their will. It's a programming of the mind. I agree. I agree with you with that. I do. I agree. And I believe the root cause of all that is the education. Is the education. We aren't taught how to think. That's real. Schools don't teach you how to critically think. Are you kidding me? They teach you how to serve, what we've been doing ever since we've been here, serving the ruling class. You know what I'm saying? So when you go to testing and all that kind of stuff, a lot of that's multiple choice. They give you the answer. What's the answer? A, B, C, or D? You know what I'm saying? You choose which one. You fill in the blank which one you think the answer is. You know what I'm saying? They don't teach you how to critically think. And that's why we don't. And that's why we don't do it. And then we come to situations where we're in a place being ruled by another group of people. And a lot of people, you don't even think about it. You don't even think about, wow. You know what I'm saying? What would it be like? What would it feel like? What would it look like for my children to grow up in a society where everybody who runs that society has their best interests at heart? Who loves them, cares for them, wants to see them do better, wants to see them rise, wants to see them be intelligent, to be kings and queens, and wants to see them just do well. What would that look like? You know what I'm saying? We don't think in those ways because we haven't been taught to think like that. We've been taught to go to school, come out, get a good job, buy a house, buy a nice car, get married, get a dog, retire sometime after 60. Now it's getting close to 70. And then the end. You know what I'm saying? When our quality of life can be so much better if we decided to change our minds. We have that power. We do. Ain't nobody gonna give it to us. Why? That's why I was saying on one of my other videos, and I meant it. I said, if I was a white woman in America, I'd be racist. I'd be racist against all y'all. All y'all. Why would I want to give up my privilege and my power for another group of people and give it to another group? Why would I do that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not naive enough to ever think that we're going to all be kumbaya and come together and all live happily ever together. Is it happening? You know what I'm saying? How long have we been in this society? And look how divided we still are. So I think it's just naive for us to ever think that one day things going to get better for us in this society. Hey, Denzel. No collective unity, Eddie says. Hey, Gregory. Arrogance and individualism. I believe that's Sean. I can't tell by your Hebrew writing, but I believe that's Sean. Arrogance and individualism. Absolutely. I think I call it ego and foolish pride. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Which produces infighting. It produces infight. You can see it. You can see it on a minuscule level right here on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? You ask a simple question, and you get enough people on it. Oh, I got poor. I hope y'all can still see me. It keeps saying poor service. Eventually, a fight's gonna break out, or two or three, when names are called, words are slanging, and it could be a simple, really basic question. You know what I'm saying? If somebody don't agree with how you think, you a stupid MF, or dumb fool, or ignorant, or you know what I'm saying? And let the races begin, and there it is, and it's off. ego, foolish pride, arrogance, individualism, as my brother said. Yeah, and it's, every man for himself. I got mine. Well, shit, I don't, my child good. My child in a private school, and what I'm saying, they got a savings account, a CD or whatever, or a college savings fund, and when they get out of school, they going to college and they gonna be a lawyer. We good over here. That bourgeoisie, or whatever. I'm always messing my words up. That type of attitude. Individualism, which is a learned behavior as well, because African people are village people. You know what I'm saying? When you go back to our history and from whence we came, we village people. We try, we live, we help each other. We, as a collective, as a unit, as a village. It's not till we got over here in this land and was taught by these people that we took on their characteristics and traits, which is individualism. Me, my, I, every person for themselves. Grandma get too beside herself. If she too old, I can't tend to her. I'm busy. I got a life of my own. I got some money though. So we're gonna put her in the home. You know what I'm saying? We'll go visit her every now and again. You know what I'm saying? That's individualism. You know what I'm saying? That's a learned behavior. And we take those behaviors and we implement them into our own lives. Yeah, that's real. Hey, Alina, Dwayne, the feeling of I made it, that's not my problem. You just got finished saying that. That's that individualism. Yeah. Hey, Troy, what's up, brother Troy? The Amish people, they're another good example. Yeah, Amish people are another good example of working as a collective and building as a collective, and what you can accomplish when you do that. You say what you want about them. You say they live in old times and all that kind of stuff. But these are modern day Amish people. I don't know. There's an Amish, like food village, not too far from where I live. I'm in Maryland, a place called Upper Marlboro. I used to frequent a lot more often than now. And I was there one day and I got to thinking about it, because they got the grocery store. You can get your meats, you get your fruits and vegetables. They got another section you can sit down and eat. You know what I'm saying? They fry chicken and all that kind of stuff. They got a little pretzel stand, and you go somewhere else and they build furniture. They make furniture, tables and all that kind of stuff. And then they trickle through. Then you had one or two brothers that had their little pop-up shops selling candles and things like that. So they opened the door a little bit for you. But the whole operation is theirs. And was like, wow, look at all this money coming through here. That's just one. And they probably one in every large city or town. You know what I'm saying? The Amish run this. You know what I'm saying? So you think their children struggling? You know what I'm saying? You think their children want for anything? They got it. They know they got a skill or a trade. You know what I'm saying? They know how to grow their own food. They know how to make their own furniture, things like that. And I don't know. I've never lived inside of Amish compound, so I don't know how happy and pleased they are with their lives. I'm sure they got issues like everybody else, but you don't hear about it. You don't hear about the police shooting and killing them. You don't hear about a whole lot of, things going on. So, I don't know. I just worry about us, and what we doing. What the heck are we doing? Hey, Terry. Mufasa says, generate a strong organization that we all know we can depend on, that wants only greatness, hold each other accountable. Yeah. I don't think it's ever going to be just one, or it's just too many of us. This whole tribalism thing, and that's been with us forever. We can go. I always like to go back, in history, to gather, some type of semblance of understanding of today. History is best qualified to reward all research. history. You go back in history, it's best qualified. And so I'm looking like, even back before we were, before we found ourselves in the hills of North America, there was tribalism. There was tribalism, in the African community. There was tribalism in the Native American community. So I don't think that there will ever be a situation where all of us collectively just go under one umbrella. You know what I'm saying? But it can be one big umbrella, bigger than the rest, to where we all understand. Like I think of like APAC, which is I forget what it means, but it's the Jewish organization where that's how they get everything they want done in the political arena. That all the politicians have to go and bow down to the Jews, go to the APAC convention and announce that they down with them. That, whatever you want. When I get in office, whatever you want, your wish is my command. Why? Because they have power. They built that power and might and strength. So they have this big umbrella that all the Jewish people fund into called APAC. And those who run APAC, their job, I believe I'm saying that right, correct me if I'm wrong, is it APAC? I know they have an APAC for the political arena, and then they have another organization that prevents you from talking bad about them in the public sphere. They come after you with that one too. But again, that's another separate umbrella. But they both big, but my point is, what they're doing is helping all Jewish people. It ain't just helping one or two. All Jewish people benefit from them organizations. You know what I'm saying? Those over in Israel, those over in the UK, those here in America, and they're all over the place, and they ain't even got to live together, but they still support each other. Yeah, that's social engineering. Arthur, hey, Larry. Hey, Tamaritha, Kimberly, Selecta, Letta, Tiffany, Khalil. David says, history is what's stopping us from coming together, because when we did it in the past, they destroyed it or infiltrated and used us against ourselves. What part of history are you referring to, David? You mean the history here on these shores? When we did it, are you talking about like Black Wall Street? How we came together and organized, and was building our own communities, and they came from the sky. First time there was ever bombs dropped in this nation was on our ancestors' heads. You know what I'm saying? Over in Greenwood, was Ohio, Black Wall Street, where we built, a strong, powerful town. And and they destroyed that. Why were they able to do that? Was that because we, why? Some people say we didn't have our armor. We didn't have enough security, infrastructure around security. But how do you arm yourselves in a land that you're not running underneath the strongest military might in the world? How do you fight against that physically? You know what I'm saying? In this land, they showed you what they'll do. They'll drop bombs on your head, destroy your whole community. I was watching Waco. Them people were white. They weren't even black. But I was watching that special on Netflix about Waco, Texas, and what happened then, which is interesting. Y'all should watch that if you can. They told it from the inside of the compound's perspective. And what stuck out for me was that what these people will go through, to go to the extent that they will go to keep their power and control over you. They ain't just gonna let you, you know what I'm saying? That's why, anybody who rose up, the Panthers, who rose up in arms or and they crushed the whole organization, Why? Because they're not gonna, they're not gonna let you just take their power. But we still gotta fight. Nothing. We still gotta fight. So yeah, David, that's a good point. But what beyond that? And again, I'm just throwing some stuff out there so we can be thinking about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not just going through our day to day. Unless you cool. I mean, some of us cool with living under oppression. Some of us good with the crumbs off the table. We good with that. Some of us alright with having less than those other people around. You know what I'm saying? Despite us being great and mighty and powerful in our own right. You know what I'm saying? So, but we good. We good with our lives. That's just real. But if that's you, okay, that's you. That's you. But I'm talking to those who ain't good. Those who, know they deserve better and want better and demand better for their lives, that want freedom. You know what I'm saying? To be able to maneuver and do what they want and to chart their own destiny in life. Those are the ones I'm talking to here. Hey, Stephen. David said the rules of this country is not going to allow that to happen. Look at those rich and wealthy black people, and they are not doing that because they know what can happen to them and their families. Yeah, we just got finished talking about that. The bourgeoisie class. Those who, get it for themselves, and that's how they live their life. You know what I'm saying? Later for the rest, say, yeah, I got mine. You got to get yours the best way you know how. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the hood, yeah, but I escaped that. I ain't look back. You know what I'm saying? I ain't look back. All that death and destruction. As a matter of fact, I don't even want nothing to do with that shit. I ain't gonna go nowhere near the hood. You know what I'm saying? Despite the fact that you or your mama grew up in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Despite the fact that, as you was young growing up, some of your closest friends and confidants and the people around you came from the hood situations. And how much, those people impacted and benefited your life in one way or another. You know what I'm saying? You escaped the situation and some others didn't. And, but you know what I'm saying? You take on a selfish way about life, and you don't want nothing to do with that no more. And now look, you know what I'm saying? Then when you look, no one person can rise above the conditions of their people. No one person can rise above the conditions of their people. You may think in your own mind, in the sickness of your own mind somewhere, that you know what I'm saying, that you think you can do that. But you just go out here like an Oprah and go try to buy a handbag with her billions of dollars, and they look at her and like she crazy, and they don't even want to take money out of her hand. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because you still a part of, you know what I'm saying? You may think you think you can marry into, or you know what I'm saying, sit in the boardroom with, and think that now you've arrived, until something like that knock you back down to reality to show you that, you know what I'm saying, the people really nobody care about you for real, but your own people, that you got something to offer them. You know what I'm saying? Now they pretend they care just to get in your pockets or in your pants. Makta, Hario, hey, Reggie, Jews get their protection through their economy. Hey, Reggie, that's a thought. That's a thought. That's something to consider. Yeah, they're the wealthiest group of people in this society. And I was told that they teach their young at 3 years old, family. At 3 years old, they start teaching their young to support other Jews. The importance of supporting Jewish community. You know what I'm saying? That to put your people above anybody else. While we all out here teaching ours. I hate to laugh. We out here teaching ours. Oh, we all the same except for the color of our skin. You don't treat nobody no differently. And you know what I'm saying? Da 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 da. That's what we teaching our children. And the Jewish community teaching theirs, you better, you spend your money with Jewish people. 3 years old. They learning this. Yeah, man, it's time to learn, man. We got to learn from these examples that other people have put out for us. And again, I repeat, that don't mean we become Jewish people. Hell no. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean we take on all their wicked characteristics and traits. No, but you take, what's advantageous out of, what they're doing and implement it into it so you can help build your own pot. Hey, David, in order for us to take our family and teach them our way of living, we have to fight it. We'll have to be a civil war because the rulers of this world is not going to let our black peoples come together to become strong as a nation. Yes, David, I think that's something that a lot of us don't understand and a lot of us fear. So I think that's why we take such a passive position towards when people are killing us. We actually kids shot dead in the street. And we take a passive position such as, I forgive you. You know what I'm saying? I think because we really are afraid to die. We're afraid to die. And we're afraid to fight for what we believe in. You know what I'm saying? Or we're afraid to fight, period. Some of us don't believe in nothing. So that's why they're afraid to die. Really? You know what I'm saying? But, a large block of us are afraid of that. They're afraid of what that means to really, fight for freedom. Despite there's no other people that ever received their freedom on earth where there wasn't bloodshed. You name it. Name somebody who marched their way to freedom. Name somebody who who went in the courthouse and wrote laws on, in order to get free. Or you know what I'm saying? You name it. Sung their way to freedom. We shall overcome. You don't get freedom that way. You got to fight for it because those who maintain the control and domination over you are benefiting from you. It's like a blood sucking. It's like a tick on a skin scenario. You know what I'm saying? In order for them to have the lifestyle they have, you have to be in a certain position beneath them. You know what I'm saying? So they're not just going to let up off you and now you become their equal. Now you become their competition and you can eventually overpower them. So they're not going to do that. They're not just going to give you your freedom or allow you to just walk away scot-free. No, that's why they lock so many of our brothers up in them prisons. Because they don't want, if enough of us start talking like this, like I'm talking now, and I ain't too naive enough to realize that, you know what I'm saying? If enough of this kind of talk get out, it'll be crushed. Because they don't want the competition. And I don't think we understand it at that level. That's why we keep trying to appeal to the morals of these people, and you know what I'm saying, protesting and all that stuff. We don't understand it. It's a do or die situation for them too. They fighting to maintain their domination and control so they can have the life that they have. They're milk and honey right here on earth, at the expense of our pain and discomfort. So what do we do to flip that? That's what I'm saying. Hey, Krista. Our people tried it and they are still trying to come together, but the rulers are going to stop it. Yeah, well, that's their job. Their job is to stop it. What's our job? And we should be careful with that kind of talk, the end kind of talk. Well, we can't do that because they're just going to stop that. The end. Because that means, you're not setting your mind up for a solution. You done already concluded that the victory will be won by them. You haven't even decided, well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, if they come, it ain't even no counterattack in the conversation. Oh, they ain't gonna do nothing but kill us anyway. They ain't gonna shoot us dead anyway. The end. Okay? No, well, you know what I'm saying? How do you counter that attack? How do you come from up out of that? How do you fight against that? What is your plan? What is the other option? What alternatives do you have so you can get the upper hand? So we got to be careful, I think, with that kind of talk. We as Black Americans do not have our own land, to have our own economy. We tried it back in the day when there was the Black Wall Street and the rulers murdered them. That's my point. That's my last point. Okay, so what happened? What can we learn from that situation, David, that we can take forward, and so it could be a different outcome next time? You know what I'm saying? We can't let that be the end. That's a defeatist attitude towards the situation, and that is a losing game. You know, when we come to those kind of conclusions, that means you lost. You know, that means you lost. So that's hopeless. That's what hopeless sits in. You know what I'm saying? So no, we gotta change the way we think about things. And like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there was one time that Black Wall Street, we was flourishing, and they came in and destroyed that. But next time we have to do A, B, C, and D, so that won't happen again. We got to get out of that mind frame of being that's it, that's all. That's a hopeless scenario. Ariel, the issue that we have is that we are all individuals that see ourselves as individuals, not as a people. We've been separated from ourselves, and we are targeted if we ever try to unify. That's true. That's true. So what do we do? What do we do about that? Now that we know, we have the proper knowledge and understanding that we see ourselves as individuals, how do we change that? How do we change that to where we don't see ourselves as individuals? We see ourselves as a family, as a group of people that when I come up, you come up too. You know what I'm saying? How do we maneuver in that space to make that happen? Hey Mufasa, we have to find resources to start an organization that becomes well known to the Black America. There's a lot of organizations right now out here still right now that we can just cling to. You know, I heard another wise scholar say that, you know, there's 1,000,001 organizations out here. Why start a new one? You know what I'm saying? If you could think whatever you could think up, somebody's already thought it up and moving in that direction. So we just gotta jump on board, you know. David, we have to fight it. We have to be bloodshed in order for us Blacks to come together and have our own economic system. Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't see it happening any other way. You know, it's just galvanizing the troops enough to understand that. You know what I'm saying? To be prepared, you know, and not be so afraid, and not, you know, go scurrying and curl up in a ball, or not submit their will to the enemies. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's what a lot of us do these days. We just, you know, if you can't beat them, join them type attitude. And so you got folks now that they will fight against you. You know, you got a lot of brothers and sisters out there hear what I'm saying, and I become the enemy. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? These folks are good to me. These folks good to me. They give me a job. They feed me if I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? I'm good, you know? So I ain't following behind what you saying, because that's dangerous. Yeah. So that again, that's a can't beat them, join them scenario. So you've submitted your will to them, and not your own, but your seeds as well, because the seeds usually follow behind the root of the tree. So, you know, what are you teaching your children to be? Servants. You know, servants to a lesser God. That's the deep part to me. You serving a lesser God than yourself. Yeah, we know what happened to Brother King. Black Wall Street, yeah, we know all that blood, yeah, but what can we do to prevent that from happening? You know? And I think that we have the ability with our own minds and our own will to chart whatever course we want in this society, you know. And if it's not this society, another society, you know, because there's some things that's going on now that when all the smoke clears, it ain't gonna be it ain't going to be the same. The power structure is shifting, you know? And I do believe in a force higher than myself. You know, I do. And I believe that's another reason why we find ourselves in such a helter-skelter situation and not strong and united. Is we're just, a lot of us are just not rooted. We're not rooted in a source that's more powerful than ourselves. You know, we're just not. You know, we laugh at those who look to live their life in accordance to the will of a higher power. You know, some of them may practice religions and things of that nature, and we laugh at them. But you're like, okay, you know what I'm saying? They call them all kind of names, and I have to admit that I used to be in that frame of mind. You know what I'm saying? That foolish and, you know, stupid, you know, Christian stuff and all that, any of the religions. When you stop and really think, you know what I'm saying, a lot of those people, all they really attempting to do is become rooted in a power that's higher than themselves. And yeah, like anything else, are there people out there that take those type of innocent people and manipulate their minds for their own selfish greeds and wants? You know what I'm saying? You go to the church, and then next thing you know, you giving them all your money, and they going out buying jets and $1 million homes and, you know, things like that, and their congregates are hungry and poor. You know, yeah, that happens all the time. But when you look at what people are really striving to do, you know, really they're striving to become rooted in a power higher than themselves. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. You know, the harm in that is when people try to manipulate that innocence. You know, those are the wicked people. Those are the wrongdoers. You know, those are the ones that's causing all the harm. You know, the people themselves, you know, the sheep themselves, they just want to serve God, you know, in the way that the best way they know how. Hey, Marlon, good to hear from you. I haven't seen you in a while. I could really speak on that. Hey, Ken, it's getting better. What do you mean it's getting better? Please elaborate on that. Let's see. Kevin, that's been done a long time ago. I'm not sure what you were referring to. History taught us that coming together, and if you separate ourselves from the system, it didn't end so well. I'm not sure what you're referring to there either. Hey, Letta, we need schools. Where are the people ready to organize? Let's make it happen. See, that's my type of talk. Hey, Letta. Yeah, that's my type of talk. Well, you know what I'm saying? We can talk about this all day, every day. And we do. And I think that's part of the process too. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that, you know, I hear a lot of, you know, all we do is talk. All we do is talk. Let's talk more action. True. That's definitely needs to be said and done. But that's part of the process too. You know, any movement of a people, how do you move a people? You move a people by just standing in front of them and being in silence? No, people are moved by the word, by the tongue, by the talk. You know what I'm saying? For instance, let's take for instance Killer Mike. Y'all remember a few years back, something happened, you know, some major event happened, and Killer Mike got on the mic and was like, well, we need to do these, we need to take our money out of these white banks and put it in these black institutions. And he said that, and after he said that, there was unprecedented. All these banks, black-owned banks started getting all these new accounts, and the money was taken. People was taking. Usually, all it takes is somebody to stand up with a good idea and speak it. You know what I'm saying? And it waves, and it makes waves. And so my point is, any movement takes place by people, by talk, by the word of mouth, by the speech, by people, you know what I'm saying, by powerful speaker or speakers speaking it into existence, and the people hear it, lend me your ear, and they're touched by what they hear, and they move into action. So the talking process of the movement, you can't take that out. You know what I'm saying? We need that. We need that's how you drum up interest. That's how you galvanize the movement and get more people to go. You know, where we gonna move if we don't know what the movement is, what's being said? We gotta know what we moving for, and that comes by speaking it. And so, don't underestimate the power of people speaking, the public speaking and talking it, and even a few people. You got a few people that you can post. That's why Facebook is so powerful. You get enough people saying the same thing and it makes sense. You can get some work. You can get something done. So, yeah, we do a whole lot of talking and not enough moving. I agree with that. But I don't think that the whole talking part is a bad thing either. So, yeah, Letter, I feel you, sis. Kevin, what we have done, have nothing. Buka, hello. Keep doing. Thank you so much. Hey, Ebony. Yeah. David, yes. I hear you, David. It's just a lot of, what we don't have, what we not doing, what we, I would rather us be moving towards what we can do. We know those things. So what are we going to do to change it? Is what I'm suggesting. Ahmad, we have so many gangs, tough guys, but no army or sizable militia collectively for us. Yeah, I've heard Minister Farrakhan teach on that. He said that's our strongest army. Those little them knucklehead youngins out there running wild and loose. That's our strongest army. It's just that they got the guns pointing in the wrong direction, he say. The guns pointing in the wrong direction. They out there fighting and killing each other. Those the fearless ones who don't care, they ain't scared of death. You know what I'm saying? Imagine those youngins knowing who their real enemy is. You know what I'm saying? And again, that goes back to the education. The educating the youth into who they are. And giving them the proper understanding of this society and how it runs and what makes it runs. And why they find themselves in the predicament they in. Who runs that? Who controls all that? And teaching them and educating them about that. And then allowing them that they not stupid. And allowing them to come to their own conclusions about life. But right now, they're miseducated. And not educated at all. And they don't want to, and that's why they don't listen. They get in them classrooms and stuff, and they get rowdy because ain't nothing in there. They smart enough to understand without understanding that they ain't getting what they need. They ain't getting the proper mental nourishment. You know what I'm saying? And the proof of that is you got these other institutions that these brothers are building up, like John Kennedy and some other ones, that they have these schools and all boys schools, and they take the hardest, toughest ones out of these inner city communities, and they bring them to these schools, and in 1 or 2 years, everything, test scores, some of the highest test scores in the state, they all go, 100% of them go off to college. You know what I'm saying? They disciplined. Why? What is it that they're doing and these brothers are doing in their school that the public school system can't do? Because they giving them what they giving them. First of all, they letting them, they know that they being loved and appreciated when they walk through the doors, because they have the black people standing there who love them and appreciate them, waiting to greet them. You know what I'm saying? And not some other people who when they, they look at them wrong, they call them the principal to get them suspended. You know what I'm saying? So they know they loved and cared for and appreciated in these schools, and they're giving them the proper brain food. You know what I'm saying? So it's not nothing wrong with our children. It ain't nothing wrong with them. It's that they are being miseducated. And they are in these institutions, and the people who stand in front of them for 8 hours a day could care less, really, about them. All they want is a paycheck at the end of the day. Not all, but a lot of instances, and they can run ruly. So what are we going to do to change that on a grander scale? Fear, greed. I'm hearing that a lot. I want y'all to explain to me. What do you mean? What are we afraid of? Fear is what's stopping us. What are we afraid of? Hey, Kevin. Thumbs up when we continue to fight to lose. Hey, Patrick. Greetings. King. Mustafa. I believe we have to fight the same way these crackers fight against us. Which is how? Letter. They can't stop us if it's done right. Yeah. Yeah, we have the power. I believe that. We hold powers far greater than we even understand. We really do. You know what I'm saying? We really do. There is a reason. There's a responsibility that come along with being the original people. That ain't just a catchphrase term that make you feel good. That's a responsibility that come along with being the original people of the earth. What does that really mean? What does that really entail? What does it mean that when the creation of humankind, when humans were created, you were the blueprint. You were put here first. You were shaped and molded. By what? By whom? By how? You know what I'm saying? So what? That in and of itself makes you special. That makes you closer to God. When the God force or the creative force decided that he was going to create man, that little person, them people look like you and I. You know what I'm saying? So that in and of itself makes you special. And that's nothing for you to get uncomfortable about. Because some of us are afraid to bask in our own greatness. We are. We want to bring other people into that. Oh, we really will get physically uncomfortable. And it's a term for that. We really are. It's a syndrome. That's a disorder that you can't bask in your own greatness without feeling uncomfortable about that. You are the original people on earth. There's a reason why Black people are more physically stronger than any other people on earth. Toe to toe, blow for blow. And there's a lot of us out there don't even understand this science, basic science and math. You take blow for blow, or all else being equal, Black man against any other man, and they same weight, same height, same build. Who the hell you think gonna get knocked out first? Come on, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real, and let's understand the basics of who we are. Basic. So there's a reason why you have these powers and this force stronger and greater than any other people on earth. What are you doing with that? So you got all these extra, these superpowers, you know what I'm saying? And it don't just stop at physical force either. You know what I'm saying? We can go on and on. But you have these special superpowers and forces, and yet and still you allowing another group of people to oppress you, that you up under another footing. What is going on here? So yeah, Letter, to your point, they can't stop us if it's done right. That's why I wanted to the stream when people start saying all they gonna do is kill us, or we can't do nothing right, or we ain't doing nothing but, you know what I'm saying, destroying, we can't do shit. You know what I'm saying? All that, to me, that kind of talk is that's a weakness in my mind. That's a weakness, because we can do it. You know what I'm saying? And we will if we put our minds to it. That's the whole point of will. Will power. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is will it. If only you really understood the power that is anointed on you, you can will whatever you want. And I think, this whole system and how it's set up, it can't run without us giving it approval to. We basically feed the monster to keep us oppressed. Hey, Hanifa, sis. Yes, we know it don't work, Kevin. The solution is to fight. We don't have an army. There must be blood shed. Well, we have to build an army. Hey, Hanifa, we need to understand some will die. Like, why do we not get this? Teach, Hanifa. Teach. We afraid. That's the fear. We afraid. I think, yes, you know, whatever war that ever has happened on earth, that, you know what I'm saying, the people fight and nobody dies. You know, when you really understand that you don't die, when you get that you live forever, you're not afraid of that. You're not afraid of death. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of life. You know, every last one of us gonna taste death. Every soul must taste the death. Every last one of us on earth is going to taste death. You know what I'm saying? So what are you really trying to hold on to? You know what? Why aren't you fighting for your children? You know, for a better life, not for yourself. You know, that's my point of us not making any sacrifices. We don't even make basic sacrifices. You know, I'm thinking like the Montgomery bus boycott back in the day, and over a year, it was like a year that they had decided as a collective that they was not, we don't hold each other accountable either. I want to come back to that. They was not going to ride them buses. They got sick and tired of how they was being treated. You know, it wasn't fair. You know, I think it was even the fare or something at that time. It was just, you know, exorbitant and all that kind of stuff. So they decided that, okay, well, we ain't going to ride the bus. They made a sacrifice, and it took them over a year before they got what they wanted, because they realized they had to cave in. And people say, oh, okay, well, we got to give these Negroes what they want, because if not, we going to run out of business. But they made a sacrifice in order to get something on the other end of that was able to better themselves. We don't even do that anymore. We just don't. You know, we don't make the sacrifices, and that's one of the reasons. And you know, and I think we should all start looking at ourselves more, as opposed to making it as somebody else's problem. None of us, we don't do that. Now, what are you doing? Are you making sacrifices in your life? Are you being real egotistical and stuff when it comes to black people? Do you have an issue with trusting other black people? Have you made it in your own life and didn't look back? Ain't helping nobody else? Ain't trying to support nobody else that's trying to come up? You know what I'm saying? So this ain't about, it's about all of us, really, myself included, is we don't hold each other accountable enough. You know, we see some madness and mistreatment and things like that going on, and we close our blinds to it. Ain't none of my business. Oh, they fighting over there. I ain't getting into that. Oh, and you know what I'm saying? Or you know, a friend or a sister friend or brother or whatever doing something you know they ain't got no business doing, and you know that's gonna harm other people. And instead of calling them up on it and pulling their card, you shrug your shoulders and that's a shame on them. No, you know what I'm saying? We gotta learn how to hold each other accountable more, you know, because that's how you stop those bad behaviors, you know, or drastically reduce them. You know, we are the judge and the jury, you know. Ahmad, it works. Let those who protest to bring light to the issue, but we need a force behind them. Yes, murder back. Dealing with that fear of death that keeps us imprisoned to our own apathetic ways is a start. Start within. That's real. That's my sister Hanifa. Always come with the fire. I was in California off and on. I'm a biker. I seen sights of 5 to 10K bikers on the road to celebrate riding on a hot day. But why can't we get them support a cause other than Toys for Tots? Who's these bikers you talking about? You talking about 5 or 10 black bikers or Europeans? Cause, I think if enough of us start screaming, enough of us who understand come together, you know what I'm saying, making a sacrifice. Even sometimes we got to do some things we really don't feel like doing. There might be a meeting, or organizing meeting going on in the community when you get off work, but you tired as hell. You know what I'm saying? All you really want to do is go home, kick your feet up, get a nice cup of tea, or watch a story on TV or whatever your favorite show. That's what you really want to do. But the organizing committee need you, and the meeting is tonight at 7 p.m. What do? Do you go kick your feet up, or do you go to this organizing meeting that can potentially help get us in a better position, or whatever it is? So that's my meaning, what I mean by making sacrifices. When we really don't want to do something, but for the greater good of the whole, you are needed. You are necessary. You know what I'm saying? So you got to go to that meeting. You got to bite the bullet and, you can kick your feet up the next night. But that's just a sacrifice that you got to make in order to drive this movement forward. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe, there's an organization, that is doing some things to help people, and they're asking for, to give money to their organization so they can help for whatever reason. They can help other people in the community. You got some extra change, but you thought maybe, you was going to take that extra change and go out to eat with it. But here's this organization that really can use this money so they can help the greater good of the community. What you going to do? You going to go on and take your money and go on, sit down and have yourself a real comfortable meal? Or you going to make that sacrifice for that one meal? You can go home and eat yourself something, and you're going to give that money to the organization because you know that money going to go stretch a whole lot further to help those who look like you. We got to start making more sacrifices in our own life. And a lot of the sacrifices are small. If we just started with small, little sacrifices, like supporting one another in business more. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going to Walmart for all your goods or skincare goods or whatever, you like, well, I'm gonna jump on WeBuyBlack.com this time. And instead of buying lotion from Walmart, I'm gonna go on WeBuyBlack.com and buy a bottle of lotion from them. It's small sacrifice. And if enough of us take those small sacrifices, that builds. And what we also do is we don't realize the power we have in one. We don't realize, oh, it's just me. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna miss that little $5 because I'm just one. But if enough of us have that attitude, nothing gets done. As opposed you taking the step and making the sacrifice, even if it is just you. You know what I'm saying? Making the sacrifice that you've decided that's what you're gonna do. And you ain't worried about what everybody else ain't doing. What you're gonna do is make the sacrifices. And if enough of us have that kind of attitude, then that's how the pot builds and gets big and huge. And we grow from there. But it starts, like my sister said, it starts with self. That's why you can never take yourself out of the equation. Because it starts with you. This peace talk don't want to put these weapons together. Let these have it. Yeah, Kevin, we need warriors like you. We need them. Everybody ain't gonna be frontline warriors, and I've grown to respect that too. I've grown to respect that. Don't try to put out them fires. And you got folks like Kevin saying he ready to put some work in. Okay, well you know where Kevin gonna be. He gonna be in the front line, so you get him organized with those who feel and think and ready to behave like that. You don't try to throw sand on that fire. Hell no, you get in where you fit in. If you know that ain't your place, you know what I'm saying, your heart ain't, you know what I'm saying, you ain't got that kind of heart. Okay, we all have a place in this struggle, and we all ain't gonna be on the same pages of things. But, respect that, I had to grow to respect that. I had to learn that I couldn't be like, oh no, Kevin, we can't fight like that. Nah, let that brother do what he got to do. Man said we got to be willing to deal with the consequences and have support with our consequences, not let us be lone wolves. Bubba said they already organized under chaos and white supremacy. Why hunt for food when your belly is already full? That's where we at. We in a position where we comfortable. You know, we comfortable with a little bit though. You know, somebody else got the whole big pot, the pie. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else got 95% of the pie, and we good with the little 5%. You know, that's where we are right now. Hey, hey, honey, for good balance. Thank you, Herbert. Thanks for always caring. Appreciate you too, Kevin. Yep, we got numbers. Yep, I just want to make sure I get all of us in here before I get off of this. Death is all around us. That's a good point. Why you fear death? That's something else. You know, you can see that. You can see the fear of death right here, right now. With this whole virus thing. People afraid. People scared they step foot outside. They get mad at you if you walk past them without a mask. You know what I'm saying? They wearing gloves. And I understand taking precautions. Yeah, we should take precautions. But some people are afraid despite. And that, I think, goes to not having a proper education too. Because if you had the proper education, you will understand that depending on your age and depending on the strength of your immune system, the likelihood of you catching this thing and dying is slim to none. It really is. You know what I'm saying? The people are dying around us, absolutely. But I'm the strongest, healthiest, willfulest people out here scared as hell. When, you know what I'm saying, you got a better chance of winning a lottery or getting killed in a plane crash or something than dying from corona. And that's real when you put all the numbers together. When you look at it as a whole and not what the media is telling you. Because the media, they're to scare the hell out of you. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. We feed all into what the media say, and we do everything that media tell us to do. And you know what I'm saying? And we scared out of our wits because we haven't brought in our understanding of the situation better, because that alleviates the fear. When you have a proper understanding of something, you ain't got to fear it because you know what you need to do. But when you don't, yeah, you scared because you don't know what to do. You scared out of your wits. Oh my God, the world's falling. We all gonna die. No, all you gotta do is A, B, C, and D, and you're gonna be all right. But if you don't have the proper knowledge of A, B, C, and D, you're gonna be scared out of your wits, and you're gonna do whatever that one-eyed monster television tell you to do. So death is all around us. Oh shoot, I'm sorry, family. Okay. I want to make sure I get all y'all. Fight for the cause. All I want out of life is a normal life, wife, children, but don't look like I'll ever have that. I'ma change your environment. Smile, say hello. You be surprised. That's a good point. Basic, simple things. That's a real good point. I agree with you too. Thank you, sisters. Stop thinking that the white people products and services are better than our brothers and sisters that are entrepreneurs. We give this country $2.7 billion every single year. I thought it was more than that, of our buying power. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what we feed the monster. That's my point. We feed the monster. It comes back and bites us, and then we cry. But we feed the monster. We are the 8th wealthy. We put all our money together, we'll be the 8th wealthiest nation on earth. Africans in America. If we pulled all our money together and what we spend, we would be the 8th wealthiest nation on earth. That's real. Deal Holyfield. So again, it goes back to understanding and knowledge. We don't have the proper knowledge. And so we do foolish things. You know, that's why it's important to do things like reading. You know, it was a reason they kept us from reading. It was a reason why at one point in time that we couldn't even read. We was forbidden to read a book. They caught you with a book, they'll kill you. That's deep. Think about that. You were caught with a book, you could die. That's how important it was for them to keep you away from reading. Why? You know why? Because in reading books it broadens the mind. It produces intelligence. It gives you a better understanding of things. It allows you to travel outside of the circumferences of your current existence. You know, books do all that. And so why would, again, the people who ruling over you give you power that could help to crush and demolish them? So they understand the importance of reading, you know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, it builds mental strength. Reading does all that. You know, it helps the vocabulary. You know, helps you to speak more eloquently because you're now taking in more words, and it does a lot. Reading does a lot for the mind, really does. And we don't do it a lot. A lot of us don't. You know, not saying that people who don't read are stupid or dumb, but no, I think if you take the smartest individual who don't read and give them books to read, and after a while they're gonna be super smart. Yeah, after a while they're gonna be super smart. So don't cripple yourself. You know what I'm saying? Read, even if it's basic stuff, and get your children in the habit of reading. You know, make sure they get, you know, in the habit of getting familiar with books. You know, just basic reading. All that stuff is good. Like, for instance, like for if you took two people, I'll take a real quick example. You took two people, one read books and one don't. So that both of them are smart, both of them are, you know, logical and all that kind of stuff. But the one who read books, they read about some herb that only grow in Russia, and you know and they show you pictures of what the herb looked like and the benefits of the herb and all that kind of stuff, right? So now you got these two people, and the person who they both come down with a disease or an infection or something, right? Now, the person who read the book, they know that herb in Russia, they get their hands on that herb. It's been said that it can help their condition to be able to heal. But the one who don't read, he don't know about he know about what's going on in Russia. All he knows the circumference of his own world, because he haven't took the time to read and understand or study anything else in the world. And they both come down with the same infection. You know what I'm saying? But the one who read about this herb, he went out and got that herb and applied it to himself. And now he's healthy and cured. But the one who didn't have that knowledge and information, he wasn't able to get that. And so he died. He perished. So all that to say, reading helps broaden the mind. It helps stimulate. It helps, you know what I'm saying? And the more information and content you have, the more options you have in life. You know, the more options. You know, I like to tell a story where I grew up in the hood, the Southeast. You know what I'm saying? My mother and father, they have, you know, the knowledge of economics and how to build wealth and, you know, how to, you know, make money work for you and all that kind of stuff. You know, we lived in the hood, you know, paycheck to paycheck. So, you know, when it was my turn to start a course for my own life, I went out, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have any information on that. I taught myself that through reading. Everything I can get my hands on as it related to economy, as it relates to building wealth, real estate, investing, the stock market, mutual funds, you know what I'm saying? Anything I could put my hands on. It was a period in my life. It was about a 5-6 year period. Anything I could find that related to how to build wealth, I read it. You know what I'm saying? And am I the wealthiest person and all that stuff? No. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm in a lot better position than a lot of people who I grew up with who didn't take the time to learn those things. So my point is reading, studying, educating yourself on things. It helps broaden your mind and it benefits your life. So definitely read, family. Let's see. A lot of people said the price is high on small stuff. Wonder why some. Yeah, we don't have Donald Trump, Bill Gates money. Yeah, Kevin, we know we don't have. We don't take the vaccines trying to put on us. That's another thing about educating yourself on different things. You know, there's a petition going around right now with Bill Gates' name on it. Saying that, throw him in jail, investigate him for a crime against humanity. And there is 500,000 signatures on that petition. Now, why? If you sitting out there and don't have a clue about a clue, you know what I'm saying? And that thing come across your screen and you shrug your shoulder and keep on moving, you know what I'm saying? You don't have the proper information to protect yourself. You need to be tuned in and understand, at least have a basic level of understanding what's going on around you. So 500,000 people is saying, investigate this man. Why? Why is all these people want to investigate Bill Gates? What is going on? So you want to educate yourself. You don't want to just stick your head in the sand, because then when the vaccinations come around, you be the first one sacrificing your arm and your children's arm to the pharmaceutical gurus. And then the next thing you know, your child got autism. You can't even put two and two together, because you haven't even took time to educate yourself enough to a point to protect yourself and yours. So again, family, good point, Kevin. Remember the UNIA, remember Noble Drew Ali, remember the Nation of Islam. And all those three organizations are still moving, still strong. Yep. Hey, Derek. Respect. I'm reading a message, the black man studying, taking my GED. All praises due. That's an excellent book. Excellent book that you're reading. And good for you with your GED. I took my GED too. A long time ago. Knowledge is power, David. When Ahmad, when you pass the ASVAB and go into military, put lots of that money into that USP. It pays off. Okay, that's some tips and advice. 10-4, Kevin. I want to get in the skill of dentistry. Okay, Ashe. That's a noble skill. That's needed. Definitely needed and necessary. All right, family, I'm running my mouth. I just want to make sure, again, what's stopping us from organizing, you know, and what can we be doing to move in that direction? You know, I'm just one person. You know, I get on these platforms and I scream to anybody who listen. I don't care if it's one person, you know what I'm saying? If it's one person that hears something that I said that makes half a bit of a sense, and that's able to use that information to change their lives in a way that's beneficial, then my job is done. That's all I'm here to do, you know, is spread the word and run my mouth. And, you know, and there's some of y'all out there that hate there she go again talking that mess, you know, tune me out. That's fine too, you know, that's fine too. We all got a place in this world. My only advice would be to get rooted. I think that's very, very key in a source and a power that's higher than ourselves. I think that's one of the reasons why we don't get a lot of our prayers answered, because my father would say, you playing with Islam. You know, you playing around with African spirituality. You playing around with Christianity. You name it. You go down the list. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us do. You know, we know right from wrong. We know we were born with that sense of knowing right from wrong. You know, that's that sixth sense in us. But yet and still we choose to do all the wrong things out here. Why? Because we're not as rooted as we should be, you know, in the force the force of good that's higher than ourselves. I would say challenge yourself to be more self-disciplined, you know, in the ways of like food, your emotions, you know, money aspects, and like fasting. For instance, right now, fast is Ramadan season. Ramadan Mubarak to all the Muslims out there. I don't subscribe to any religion per se, but I practice any of the things that some of these religions do that make sense to me, and I know fasting is prescribed. Fasting is helpful. You don't have to be a Muslim to fast, but I choose to follow the Ramadan because it's helpful when you got, more people out there that's doing the same thing you do. Now you become, you got a support system. So I'm fasting right now. We don't eat or drink anything until the sun goes down. And that's a form of discipline. That's a form of self-disciplining yourself. That when you hungry, you hungry and you got all the food all around you, and any chance you get, you can go eat something. Ain't nobody got to see me eat. I can go in the corner somewhere and eat something. You know what I'm saying? But when you rooted in a force higher than yourself, and you know that, self-discipline is prescribed, and it ain't do nothing but benefit you. You know what I'm saying? So you do it to help yourself. So fasting, it helps you. It helps regenerate the DNA in your body. It helps ward off diseases and infections and all that kind of stuff in the body. It helps you lose weight certain ways. You gain it all back if you're not disciplined after you fast. It clears your skin. My sister Hanifa just did a juice fast. I was looking at her face. I was like, whoa, her face clear as a bell. Being more disciplined is what I'm saying. And in our own personal lives and things that we know we ain't got no business doing. We out here do all kind of things. We cheat on one another and all that kind of stuff. But, challenge yourself to be more disciplined in the way you maneuver in this life, and making sacrifices, broaden your scope of intelligence by reading and picking up different skills and crafts that you didn't know before. Don't just get comfortable with living life, going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. No, implement some new ideas and thoughts and skills into your life, and that helps you grow and expand and support one another. Sankofa, I think, is paramount. Sankofa is an African proverb, and it just basically means go back and fetch it. Go back and get the information that once was and bring it forth. And I think that is helpful in understanding who you are. It's like having amnesia. How do you, if you start the understanding of who you are on the shores here in America, who were you before that? So you starting your history off with slave history. So all you know about yourself is in the beginning, I was a slave. No, there's a whole millions of years, light years of information about who you are before slavery. So you go back and get that information. Why? Because that helps you better understand who you are. It helps you be proud of who you are. Love who you are. You know what I'm saying? So Sankofa is important. Learn more about the history outside of America as to, who we once were, So, and some people, I hear y'all, some people be like, I ain't from Africa. I'm from America. Well, how did you get to America? If Africa is the birthplace of civilization, if about the first woman to ever exist so far, they found on African soil, then clearly that tells me that Africans traveled all over the world. So when you say you ain't from Africa, you from America, again, that lets me know that you have a limited scope of history. Because you want to know, who were you before you were in America? Even if this before the slave ships came. Okay, before the slave ships came, if you don't know for real, you don't know. You just, you don't know. But so you say that you were here before the slave ships came. Okay, then how did you get here before the slave ships came? So let's go back even further than that. Get rooted into in the core of who you are. And so Sankofa is important. The foundation is the key. You know, that family unit, again, and I'm going to leave it at that. You know, the family unit, I think, is the linchpin. That is the key to it all. I don't think, unless we get our family unit intact, we're going to forever be fragmented and discombobulated and helter-skelter and unsure and not running here and there and just separated, you know. So it starts the course. So the family first has to be unified, and then you move from there to your neighborhood, then you move from there to your community, and then you move from there to the city or the state, you move from there to, you know, the country, you move from there to the world. So it starts, the foundation of unity starts right in your own home. So it's important for us we got this civil war going on between black people and white people. Black men and white men, black women. And we got this war within. And we fight, and we point the finger, and we forget that. You know what I'm saying? We a collective. You know what I'm saying? You can't be blaming the sisters can't blame the brothers for all their problems, and the brothers can't blame the sisters for all their problems, because that ain't gonna do nothing but keep the friction going. That's why starting with self and understanding who you are and going within is the key to it all. Because the more you're not doing that, the more you don't go in, the more you pointing the finger out. Because you looking for somebody else to blame. You know what I'm saying? You know, my family fell apart because of him. Or I don't have nothing, you know, because of her. Yeah, well, you chose that him or her. You know what I'm saying? When are you going to start taking responsibility for the decisions you make in your own life to make you cause the thing to be the way it is? So again, until we start looking at ourselves and getting our own selves in order, our family unit won't even get in order. All right, family. Love you all. Appreciate you all. Thank you for this conversation. Share it if you feel the need. If you think anything that I said would be beneficial and helpful, I just ask that you share the information with others. And until next time, take care of each other out there. Peace.